So I live in Lexington, South Carolina, and my area was impacted by this Hurricane Helene, but not nearly to the extent that points westward of me were affected. Georgia, upstate South Carolina, and of course, north of me in North Carolina, and again, west of me in Tennessee. However, we did suffer some impacts that included extended power outages. So for me, the structure where I live was fine. I didn't flood um, because I'm up on the third floor, but I don't think anybody in my area actually suffered flooding. The problem that we incurred that nobody's really been able to explain is that we had a 50-hour power outage. And the thing that was perplexing about that is that I lived downtown and everywhere else around town had power, but there was just one little square that included my community that didn't have power. So because of that, I did lose a lot of food. So I made an attempt to try to save some of it by cooking it. And then for anybody who was hungry, we went ahead and shared the food, and what was left, I just brought back and put on ice. Unfortunately, it was so well done that trying to reheat it, it was not edible. So I had to get rid of that. I had a lot of meat that I had thawed or that had thawed that I couldn't keep frozen that I had to throw out. I also had some meat that had actually seemed to have stayed frozen. I had that under 3 bags of ice. It was probably about 6 pounds of ground beef. And so when the power came back on and I was looking through it, I was like, okay, well, it's probably okay because it was frozen. However, when I ate some of it on Monday, I cooked it. It looked fine. It smelled fine. It tasted fine. On Tuesday afternoon, I was experiencing some pretty severe abdominal pain, and to the point that the hairs were just standing up every time I would have like a bout of pain. So I took that as a red flag that probably the meat was a bit compromised and threw all that out. And then I went grocery shopping and just replaced everything. The other thing I want to add is I have a sweet friend who did have power who offered for me to bring my food down to her well before we hit that first 24 hours. And I declined because I truly thought we were going to get power back. And also because she was a lot closer to where the eye of the storm went through. And even though she had power, there was some concern on my part, one, about being able to get to her house, and two, that she might lose power as they were trying to get power to other places. So that's kind of the introduction to this, and I'll go through the shopping trip. I stopped by Aldi's on October 2nd at 6 o'clock in the evening, and this is what I saw. There was a very little milk. Actually, that's fake milk, I think. I did pick up some condiments that my son and I use, which you can see in the cart here. He also eats these particular protein bars, so I picked that up. And of course, you can never have enough spices. He also eats ham, which was lost when the refrigerator went out, so I got that. This is the pork section. As you can see, this is pretty empty. They did have some ground beef, but not a lot. So I picked up some 80/20, I think about 4 pounds of that, which you can see here in my cart. And at this point, I'm kind of debating what else I want to do. It's not shown in this video, but I did go and grab a pack of hamburger patties. This is the chicken, which again, I'm not worried about, but I did go back and get some beef ribs. The bacon section was almost empty, so I grabbed 2 packs of what I could find, which is here in the cart. This is the next day at Walmart on October 4th. They were completely stocked with all of their meats. They had every kind of meat you could want: pork, chicken, beef. I ended up picking up 8 pounds of beef patties because I had to throw all mine out. Got 2 more pounds of bacon, some Slim Jims. I got some electrolytes. I went ahead and picked up pork rinds just because I needed something quick and easy to eat. And those are cans of cat food that I feed my cats. I don't feed them any dry food. I also picked up some cheese. I picked up 5 dozen eggs and some butter. Of course, here in Walmart is the fake milk section. There was a ton of fake milk. You could have anything you wanted, but then here is the regular milk section, which of course is empty. So there was nothing. Now, there was some Fairlife milk and things like that, but for the most part, the regular milk that people drank was gone. And then this was back at Aldi's, where they were out of almost all toilet paper and towel paper. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is fuel. We did run out of fuel by Saturday where I live. There were no local gas stations that had any fuel. Thankfully, I started the storm with a full tank of gas, but by the time I had finished trying to keep my phone charged and my little charge banks charged, I had kind of run my fuel down a little bit. So finally, on Monday, October 1st, I was able to find a gas station that had some fuel. They only had one type, which was the 87, which was fine with me because that's what I use in my car. So as far as the food supply, the stores are working feverishly to try to get those back up. As you can see, Walmart had done a great job getting food back in their stores, and I think life around here has returned to normal. And for anyone who is still struggling through this, please know you are in my thoughts and prayers, and hopeful that things get back to normal as soon as possible.